All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. I want to give double honors to my apostles and elders, great millstone, who teach very well, while not this truth from, and salutation out there to the hopeful lick who continue to push this word in our truth, faith, and sincerity. And today, just coming with a quick little video on how Esau ultimately is going to destroy himself. Because the same thing that the Lord gave you to be on top is the same thing that's going to take you out of power. You know, it's a saying in the sports, you live by the three, you die by the three. And even Yahweh Shai said, you live by the sword and you die by the sword. And you have to realize, man, for Esau to actually get control of the whole planet Earth, his conquest of conquering the whole world, it didn't come diplomatically. No, it came through lies and deceit. So guess what? The same thing that he pushed out is the same thing that the Lord is going to give back to him. Real quick, let's go ahead and get something real quick. Let's go to Job 4, and I'm going to jump down to verse 7. It says, remember, I pray thee, whoever perish being innocent, or where will the righteous cut off? Yes, so whoever perish being innocent, basically meaning if something happened unto you, is not no coincidence. It's a reason why that happened. From the extreme of you jumping off a building or going in a car wreck, from something small as you stub your toe. Judgment comes from the Lord. Let's go ahead and continue on. It says, even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. Yes, man. So again, let's get this in the CSB. It says, in my experience, those who plow injustice and those who sow trouble reap the same. Now, who's going to be the driving force behind Jacob's trouble? The so-called white man. Again, by the way, his diplomatic laws, Because again, the National Guard over here, but wait until those foreign troops come. You're going to really see the wrath of Esau then, for the lack of better words. Number one, because they have a vendetta against these Americans, man. They're proud over here. They don't think they can be touched. But guess what? All these troubles, from a famine even to the destruction, is going to come upon America all at one time, man. It's going to be a series of misfortunate events that's going to lead to the end of Babylon. But you push forth misfortunate events throughout the whole planet Earth. Not only unto humans, but unto animals, the bacteria, different diseases coming out. And the reason why it's different diseases coming out and the increase of the diseases coming out upon the planet Earth, because guess what? The Earth is not at rest. Nobody is at risk. Why? Because the so-called white man is in rule. The scripture also tells us in the book of Proverbs, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And yeah, we're mourning right now. We're sighing and crying. That's the reason why we seek for destruction. Because that's when everything is going to be okay. Let's go ahead and continue on, though. Job 4 and verse 9. It says, by the blast of the Most High, they perish. Yes. So by the blast of the Lord, they perish, and by the breath of his nostrils will they consume. Now, real quick, let's go into that word blast. That word blast goes back into spirit or inspiration. So that's even going into the breath of the Lord, the Holy Spirit. The Lord said he's going to put his voice out before his army. And even you go back into Ezekiel, the 35th chapter, prophesy against Mount Seir. So that breath and that blast is talking about this word. But guess what? This word is going to come to life. By the way, in the form of those intercontinental ballistic missiles. Because they're not upon the scene right now for no reason. No, they're on the scene for a necessary evil. And that necessary evil is going to be what? The destruction of Babylon the Great as we know it, man. Now let's go ahead and go back into Job, the 18th chapter. Because it's going to tell you. This is the book of Job 18, and I'm going to start at verse 7. It says, the steps of his strength shall be strained, and his own counsel shall cast him down. Now, let's go get two words real quick. Let's get that word strength. That word strength, Strong's H3334. It says the A, to suffer distress. And the reason why you're suffering distress, because you know that you have but a short time. You know, the joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment, and this is why you see the so-called white man is scrambling right now. You can see that he's desperate and he's ultimately pushing for time because he know at any given day Yahweh Shai can crack those clouds. No coincidence that he made a space program. He looking up the space more, the Hubble telescope, been putting in work for the last couple of years because the reason why they know that Yahweh Shai is coming upon the scene, man. And he's in distress. He's vexed because he know at the return of Yahweh Shai, that's the end of his rulership. You know? And it says his own counsel shall cast him down. His own counsel advises purpose. It says, for he is cast into a net by his own feet, and he walketh upon a snare. Yes, man. Because ultimately that net that he casted by himself is ultimately those intercontinental ballistic missiles. Let's get something real quick in Isaiah 54 and verse 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy. Now, this is actually talking about when the Lord put the spirit on these different Germans, you know, these different Temanites to create these different type of bombs, man. Whether it be the atom bomb, the hydrogen bomb. It is no coincidence that they came out with Oppenheimer not too long ago, because you are the destroyer of worlds, man. You basically made a nuclear missile, man. And ultimately, you know that's going to be the end all of your society. That's why you're so hesitant of pushing the button, man. That's why you're so hesitant and, for the lack of better words, going to war. You know, even if guys like North Korea and little countries, well, poor countries, little minute countries like India can puff up their chest at you. And that's the fulfillment of biblical prophecy. Let the weak say, I am strong. But the missile creation came from you. That's what you use to bully the whole planet Earth. And it's going to be the same thing that's going to end the rulership, man. You know, the bully becomes bullied, man. You know, get a taste of your own medicine. That's why it says, for he is cast into a net by his own feet. The same thing you created to put your head upon top. It says, he walketh upon a snare. The jinn shall take him by the heel, and the robber shall prevail against him. And that's really talking about Yahweh Shai. Because when you go back into Isaac, he's the one that gave you that blessing, man. You know, Jacob was blessed with the kingdom of heaven, and he was blessed with a temporal rulership and the sword, man. You know, and after that, you're going to serve your brother. Let's go ahead and continue on in verse 10. It says, the snare is laid for him in the ground, and a trap for him in the way. That's talking about those different silos, man. The bows or the machinery that propel those ICBM nuclear missiles in the sky. It says, terror shall make him afraid on every side and shall drive him to his feet. Let's go ahead and get this in the CSB. It says, terrors frighten him on every side. And a part of those terrors is us prophesying, you know, against Mount Seir, telling you that you're going down, man. It says, and harass him at every step. So every little step you take, man, to the NWO is ultimately each step coming closer into your end, man. You know, it says, his strength shall be hunger bent, and destruction shall be ready at his side. Now, let's get this word hunger bent. There were hunger bent Strong's H7457 right here, failing strength. And Esau's strength did fail because, again, the weak is saying that they're strong now. Little countries like North Korea and even Iran, they can puff up their chest at you now because you know it's a possibility that they have nuclear capabilities. But once again, that's biblical prophecy of the weak saying that they're strong. These different type of weaponry is not placed upon the planet Earth for no reason. Even once you go into the time of the Cold War, it was so many thousands of nuclear missiles they had got created. And they said, yeah, we're going to decommission. Now, if the missiles wasn't for destruction, why they didn't decommission all the missiles, man? You know, they said they decommissioned over like a certain percentage. But, you know, that was a damn lie. But ultimately, the missiles are still here. And even going here to 2025, they're growing. They're actually getting sharper. The Lord is wetting the sword for sake. Ultimately it was an atom bomb, a hydrogen bomb. Now it's an intercontinental ballistic missile, and that's a way for the Lord to fulfill His prophecy, man. Because again, the same thing that you use to strengthen you is going to be the same thing that's going to take you out, man. That's a part of your strength failing. So now you can't bully the whole planet Earth no more. Now people are standing up for themselves because they know they have the same capabilities that you do. Let's go ahead and get something real quick. Let's go to 2nd Ezra just to bag up that these things are meant for a reason. This is the book of 2nd Ezra 16, and I'm going to start at verse 13. It says, "For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp." Yes, and those missiles are sharp, man. Ultimately, it was kind of dull, during the V2 missile around the end of World War One, World War Two. They got a little sharper with the atomic bomb, a little sharper with the hydrogen, the nuclear. Now they have hypersonic missiles. They can actually reach over here to the west in 30 minutes or less, man. Faster than you can get a Domino's pizza. But all these different things is telling you that Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai is making his words faithful and true. Let's go ahead and continue on. "For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, his arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world." And again, that's talking about the nuclear capabilities that Yahweh Shai is going to send forth from the east all the way to the west, man. Even your own allies is going to shoot upon this place, man. And ultimately, it's going to be the ultimate cleansing agent for the kingdom of heaven. That's one of the reasons why we yearn for the destructions. That's why we be happy to see another article about nuclear warfare, because that's one step closer into this place being cleansed and righteousness coming through. So yeah, I pray this video was edifying. I want to give our praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakak Kodash. I want to give double honors to my apostle, elders, great millstone, and Shalom.